There's a difference between arrogance and ownership. One tries to prove something, the other knows something. Acting as if you are the best doesn't mean you believe others have no value. It means you believe deeply in your own. Not as an act, not as a mask, but as a quiet, unshakable truth. Before any great achievement, there is a seed of belief planted deep within. It begins not with the external recognition of talent or validation from others, but with a quiet inner voice that whispers, "It's possible." Belief is the unseen engine that powers every breakthrough. Without belief, effort lacks direction. Without belief, dreams never move beyond ideas. The mind must envision success before the body can follow through. This isn't wishful thinking or blind optimism. It's a conscious decision to trust in your potential even when evidence is scarce. Belief is a lens. It shapes how you interpret failure, how you respond to setbacks, and how you approach opportunity. Two people can face the same obstacle. One sees it as a sign to quit. The other sees it as proof they're getting closer. The difference is belief. When you believe in yourself, you're more likely to try again, to think creatively, to seek help, and to persist when the path is unclear. You don't get paralyzed by imperfection, because belief gives you permission to be a work in progress while striving for greatness. The strongest form of belief is not based on ego or delusion. It's built on quiet preparation, small wins, and the decision to back yourself when no one else does. It's rooted in the willingness to show up consistently, imperfectly, but relentlessly. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you reinforce that belief. Each disciplined act becomes a vote for the person you're becoming. Belief makes the difference between action and inaction. There are many people with talent, but talent alone doesn't move the world. What matters is the willingness to act in spite of fear. Belief gives courage legs. It silences the voice that says, "Who are you to try?" and replaces it with a better question, "Who are you not to?" It's not about pretending the journey will be easy. It's about knowing you are equipped to handle it, whatever it brings. Often belief must be borrowed before it's built. You may not start out fully convinced you can win, but you can commit to acting as if you can. You can move with conviction even while doubt lingers in the background. That decision to move, even without perfect confidence, is what makes confidence grow. The more you act in alignment with who you want to be, the more you start to believe that identity is already yours. This principle is reflected in every major success story. No one stumbles into excellence accidentally. They create a mental framework that supports it. They believe in their mission. They see obstacles as necessary parts of the path, rather than signals to stop. Belief doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means interpreting reality through a mindset that empowers you rather than one that shrinks you. The truth is, belief is a discipline. It requires tending. It needs to be protected from the voices of doubt, cynicism, and fear. It must be fed with evidence, focus, and positive action. It grows in environments where you are challenged but supported, where you take responsibility but allow grace. Belief isn't something you either have or don't have. It's something you choose and cultivate. Achievement begins with vision. Vision begins with belief. If you can't yet see the final form of what you want, start by believing in the next step. Believe in your ability to rise, to learn, to adapt, and to endure. That belief will turn into results, and those results will echo the truth you chose to hold long before the world could see it. You were always capable. You just needed to believe it first. There is a power in owning your presence that cannot be replicated, borrowed, or imitated. It's not about being the loudest voice in the room or demanding attention. It's about standing in quiet confidence, knowing who you are, and refusing to shrink for anyone's comfort. When you own your presence, you stop seeking permission to exist fully. You stop apologizing for your space, your voice, your ideas, your energy. You begin to lead with authenticity, and that authenticity is magnetic. Owning your presence starts with self-awareness. You have to be rooted in your values, your identity, and your mission. That inner clarity becomes the foundation for your external confidence. When you know what you stand for, you're less likely to be swayed by opinions that don't align with your truth. You move from seeking validation to offering value. You don't walk into a room wondering if you belong. You walk in ready to contribute. There is strength in stillness, in not rushing to prove your worth. When you own your presence, you recognize that you don't need to outperform others to be worthy. You just need to be fully yourself. That doesn't mean arrogance. It means alignment. It means showing up as the same person, whether people are watching or not. The world doesn't need another cop. It needs your original presence. And when you stand tall in who you are, you give others permission to do the same. Too often, people dim their presence to fit in, to not rock the boat, to avoid judgment. But shrinking doesn't protect you. It erodes you. You were not created to blend in. You were created to be the kind of person who shifts the atmosphere by simply being grounded in your purpose. And that starts with owning every part of yourself. Your story, your scars, your strengths, and your shadows. The whole of you matters. The whole of you is needed. Confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. When you own your presence, you stop pretending to be who you think the world wants, and you start honoring who you really are. You let go of the performance and embrace presence. You speak up even when your voice shakes. You walk in rooms knowing you carry value, not because you're better than anyone else, but because you finally stopped pretending you were less. The way you carry yourself teaches others how to treat you. If you act like your ideas aren't worth hearing, others will follow that lead. If you approach life with hesitation and self-doubt, the world reflects that hesitation back to you. But when you own your presence, you begin to reshape your reality. You speak with intention. You listen with focus. You act with integrity. And slowly, others start to feel that energy. They start to pay attention. Not because you demanded it, but because your presence speaks louder than your words ever could. Owning your presence is a daily decision. It's not a one-time choice. It's a habit of standing up straighter when life pushes you down. It's holding your gaze when shame wants you to look away. It's grounding yourself in truth when fear tries to unsteady you. You weren't meant to live half of your life muted. You were meant to live boldly, to stand fully in your power, to walk with clarity and compassion, to lead with conviction and heart. No one else can own your presence for you. No one else can tell your story, dream your dream, or walk your path. That responsibility belongs to you. And when you finally embrace it, when you choose to stop hiding and start owning, everything begins to change. The world begins to respond to the energy you bring, because now, it's not coming from fear. It's coming from freedom. Excellence is not something you stumble upon by chance or achieve once and forget. It is not a fleeting moment of glory, applause, or success that fades as quickly as it arrived. Excellence is a standard, a way of living, thinking, and doing. It's the quiet discipline behind the scenes, the consistent effort when no one is watching, and the mindset that refuses to settle for mediocrity, no matter how convenient it may be. Excellence is not about being perfect. It's about being committed. It's about showing up every single day and giving your best, even when you don't feel like it. When excellence becomes your standard, you stop measuring your progress against someone else's timeline. You stop chasing shortcuts and start valuing the process. You begin to understand that greatness is not built in a day, it is built in the tiny decisions you make when it would be easier to give less. It's choosing to revise the draft again, even when you're tired. It's choosing to practice a little longer, even when you feel like quitting. It's choosing to speak with integrity, even when cutting corners might get you further faster. Excellence becomes who you are when it is no longer something you try to do, but something you expect of yourself. It becomes embedded in how you work, how you treat others, how you show up in relationships, and how you pursue your goals. It is a commitment to a higher version of yourself, not for applause, but because you know deep down you were never made to coast through life. In a world that glorifies overnight success, excellence is what keeps you grounded. It teaches patience when things don't move as quickly as you hoped. It gives you resilience when progress feels slow. It reminds you that the work you're doing matters, even if it's not flashy or trending. Excellence whispers, "Keep going," while the world screams, "Give up if it's not easy." And every time you choose to answer that quiet voice, you build something stronger within yourself. Excellence isn't about impressing others. It's about honoring the potential inside you. It's a decision to live aligned with your values and your vision, even when that path is harder. It's about not compromising your standards for temporary comfort or external validation. When excellence becomes your standard, your work carries your signature. You no longer do things just to get them done. You do them with intention, purpose, and care. You take pride in the process because you understand that how you do anything is how you do everything. Living with excellence does not mean you never fail. It means you learn, adapt, and keep moving forward. It means you don't allow mistakes to define you, but you also don't ignore them. You face them with honesty, and you rise better because of them. You seek growth, not perfection. You aim for mastery, not approval. Excellence, as a standard, transforms every area of life. It builds trust in your character. It elevates your relationships. It deepens your purpose. And most importantly, it cultivates a sense of inner pride, a knowing that you gave your best, regardless of the outcome. That sense of self-respect cannot be taken from you. You don't rise to the level of your potential. You fall to the level of your standards. So raise your standards. Live like excellence is your baseline, not your exception. Let it guide your actions, your words, your habits, and your mindset. Because when you choose excellence, not once, but over and over again, you won't just change your outcomes. You'll change who you are. Comparison is a silent thief. It steals joy, focus, and peace in exchange for self-doubt and unnecessary pressure. In a world where everyone's highlights are on display, it's easy to fall into the trap of measuring your life against someone else's timeline. But what often starts as curiosity can quickly turn into criticism of yourself, of your progress, of your unique journey. The truth is, comparison is a distraction. It diverts your energy from growth to insecurity and from gratitude to scarcity. When you compare, you give away your power. You start chasing someone else's path instead of carving your own. You question your decisions, even if they were made with intention. You doubt your worth, even if it's been proven time and time again. Comparison whispers that you're not doing enough, not being enough, not succeeding fast enough. But what it doesn't tell you is that everyone is struggling in their own way, even those who appear to have it all together. No one's life is as perfect as it looks from the outside. The energy spent comparing could be invested in creating. When you're busy measuring your chapter 2 against someone else's chapter 20, you lose sight of what truly matters. Your focus shifts from your own progress to someone else's results, and focus is everything. Where your attention goes, your effort follows. When your attention is on comparison, your effort becomes scattered, your confidence dwindles, and your motivation fades. True growth happens when you stay in your lane. Your path is yours for a reason. Your pace is valid. Your story is unfolding in a way that is preparing you for what you've been asking for. Trusting that process requires discipline. It requires the strength to mute the noise and stay centered in your purpose. It means reminding yourself that success is not linear, and meaning is not found in matching someone else's outcomes. It's found in honoring your own journey. Comparison tricks you into thinking you're behind. But behind what? Behind who? There is no scoreboard for a meaningful life. There is no deadline for becoming who you are meant to be. Everyone's timing is different. Some bloom early, others bloom later, but all that matters is that you bloom, and that blooming will never be fully possible if your roots are tangled in envy, doubt, or self-judgment. Every time you resist comparison, you reclaim your peace. You remind yourself that fulfillment is not found in being better than someone else, but in being better than you were yesterday. You shift from competition to collaboration, from scarcity to abundance. You start to celebrate others without questioning your own worth, and that is powerful. That is growth. The most successful people aren't the ones watching what everyone else is doing. They are focused. They are consistent. They are grounded in their own mission. They understand that staying in alignment is more valuable than staying ahead. They know that peace is found in purpose, not popularity. Let others inspire you, but don't let them distract you. Learn from them, but don't let their journey derail yours. You were never meant to be a copy. You were meant to lead, create, build, and contribute in a way that only you can. And you can't do that if your eyes are constantly on someone else's lane. So protect your focus, guard your energy, stay rooted in your vision, because when you commit to your own path, comparison loses its power. You begin to move with intention, not insecurity, and you realize that you don't have to be better than anyone. You only have to be true to yourself. Resilience is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It's not talent, not background, not luck. It's the ability to keep going when everything around you says to stop. Winners aren't made when the path is smooth. They are made when it gets hard, and they choose to rise anyway. Life will test every ounce of your willpower, your courage, and your discipline. The people who succeed aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who refuse to stay down. There will be moments that push you to the edge, when nothing seems to work, and it feels like the world is against you. You'll question your path, your worth, and even your purpose. But that's exactly where resilience begins. It starts in the darkest places. It's born when everything goes wrong, and you decide to show up anyway. It's built one choice at a time, to persist, to believe, to fight for what you know is possible, even if you can't see it yet. Every successful person has a story of struggle. The victories you admire were once surrounded by uncertainty, fear, and doubt. What turned the tide was not that they were spared from pain, but that they were committed to the mission. They didn't allow setbacks to define them. Instead, they allowed those moments to shape their strength. When they failed, they learned. When they were hurt, they healed stronger. And when they were tired, they still showed up. Resilience means playing the long game. It means understanding that growth isn't always visible, and that progress often feels like standing still. But beneath the surface, something powerful is happening. You are becoming tougher. You are gaining clarity. You are learning how to lead yourself through the storm. That grit, that inner fire, is what transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes. The world will always have noise. People will doubt you. Obstacles will rise. Plans will fall apart. But the only voice that matters is the one that says, keep going. That voice is your anchor. It's the reminder that you are stronger than the temporary. The discomfort, the detours, the delays, they're not there to stop you. They're there to build you. When you commit to resilience, you stop looking for the easy way and start preparing for the meaningful path. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding intentionally. You build endurance, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. That means showing up with discipline, keeping your word to yourself, and doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. Resilience isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't always get recognition, but it always wins. It is the quiet refusal to quit, the steady hand in the chaos, the calm determination that outlasts excuses and outperforms talent. It's the fuel that powers breakthroughs, the courage that moves mountains, and the reason why the comeback is always stronger than the setback. In every arena, business, relationships, health, purpose, the ones who win are not the ones who had it easiest. They are the ones who didn't stop, who didn't wait for perfect conditions, who didn't run from pressure. They adapted, they adjusted, and they showed up. Again and again, that's how you win. You don't wait for the storm to pass. You learn how to move through it. You trust that each step is shaping you into someone unshakable. Because when the world throws its worst, you rise with your best. And that's the mark of a true winner. Not someone who never failed, but someone who never gave up. Greatness isn't something reserved for the lucky or the chosen few. It's not a birthright, a lottery, or a gift that falls into someone's lap. Greatness is a decision, a conscious daily commitment to show up differently, to rise above mediocrity, and to demand more from yourself than the world ever will. It's not found in a single moment, but in the repetition of brave, focused choices that build over time. Choosing greatness means rejecting the path of least resistance. It means doing what's difficult when it would be easier to make excuses. It means taking full ownership of your life, your habits, your mindset, and your outcomes. It's waking up with a sense of purpose, not waiting for motivation, but moving with discipline. Greatness doesn't chase comfort. It creates change, and that change begins with you. Every day, you are faced with a decision. Will you drift through the hours, reacting to whatever life throws at you? Or will you take control, shape your path, and push yourself to grow? The person who achieves greatness doesn't wait for perfect timing. They act, they take responsibility even when it's hard. They do the work even when no one's watching, because they understand that greatness is earned, not given. Greatness is about standards. It's about how you carry yourself when no one else is around. It's about the details you refuse to ignore, the integrity you uphold, and the values you won't compromise. You don't need applause to stay committed. You don't need validation to believe in your vision. The truly great operate from an internal compass, not external noise. This choice to be great will cost you. It will demand your time, your energy, your sacrifices. It will require that you leave behind your excuses, your distractions, your comfort zone. But what you gain in return is invaluable. You gain confidence built through consistency. You gain self-respect from doing what others won't. And most importantly, you gain the ability to look in the mirror and know that you gave everything you had. People often think greatness is some elusive summit, something far off for someday, but it starts right now, in how you speak to yourself, in whether you honor your word, in whether you rise after failure or stay down. Every decision compounds. Every moment is a vote for the person you're becoming. When you choose greatness, you're casting that vote deliberately, powerfully, and with the clarity of someone who refuses to settle. You don't have to be the loudest. You don't have to be the smartest. But you do have to be relentless. You have to be willing to do the hard things long enough for the results to show up. The world doesn't hand greatness to the most talented. It hands it to the most determined. To the ones who keep showing up, who keep learning, who keep growing even when no one's clapping. Greatness is a choice to rise above average. A decision to say, I will not be defined by my past, by my fears, or by the limitations others try to place on me. It's a mindset that says, no matter where I start, I will finish strong. And that decision is available to you every single day. The question is, will you make it? Will you demand more? Will you commit fully? Not just in your words, but in your actions. Because the truth is, greatness is not about what you have. It's about what you do with what you have. It's not about luck. It's about preparation, grit, and belief. You don't stumble into greatness. You choose it. You create it. And when you make that decision, day after day, you become unstoppable. Greatness isn't found in grand gestures or rare opportunities. It's built in the quiet, consistent choices you make every single day. When you decide to hold yourself to a higher standard, when you show up with purpose, discipline, and belief, even when no one's watching, you begin to shape a life that reflects true greatness. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than who you were yesterday. The choice to be great is yours. It always has been. And once you commit to that choice, fully and unapologetically, nothing can stand in your way.